Learn about the world. Albania. Albania is a country in southeastern Europe with a total area of 28,750 square kilometers. Albania is bordered by Montenegro to the northwest, Kosovo to the northeast, the Republic of Macedonia to the east, and Greece to the south and southeast. It has a coastline on the Adriatic Sea to the west and on the Ionian Sea to the southwest. It is more than 72 kilometers, 45 miles, long from Italy, via the Strait of Otranto connecting the Adriatic Sea to the Ionian Sea. Basic information. Full name, Republic of Albania. Government type, Congressional with Parliament. ISO, AL, ALB. Country code, AL. Time zone, +1 o'clock. Telephone code, +355. Capital, Tirana. Major cities, Durrës, Shkodër, Vlorë. Largest cities and towns in Albania, Tirana, Durrës, Vlorë, Elbasan, Shkodër, Fier, Korçë, Berat, Lushnjë, Kavaje, Gjirokastër, Sarande, Lak, Kukës, Patos, Leja, Peshkopi, Kukov, Kruja. Area, 28,748 square kilometers. Terrain. Located in the southwestern part of the Balkan Peninsula, Albania is mostly mountainous and flat along the Adriatic coast. Climate. Mediterranean, temperate, humid, hot, dry summers. Population, 2,840,464, 2025. Major ethnic groups, Albanians 98.6%, Greeks 1.17%, others 0.23%, Vlachs, Roma, Serbs, Montenegrins, Macedonians, Egyptians, and Bulgarians. Religions, Muslims, Sunni and Bektashi, 70%, Albanian Orthodox 20%, and Roman Catholics 10%. Language, Albanian. Natural resources, petroleum, natural gas, coal, bauxite, chromite, copper, iron ore, nickel, salt, timber, hydropower. Agricultural products, wheat, corn, potatoes, vegetables, fruits, sugar beets, grapes, meat, dairy products. Industries, food processing, textiles, wood, oil, cement, chemicals, mining, base metals, hydropower. Exports, textiles and footwear, bitumen, metals and metal ores, crude oil, vegetables, fruits, tobacco. Export partners, Italy, Kosovo, USA, China, Greece, Spain. Imports, machinery, equipment, food, textiles, chemicals. Import partners, Italy, Greece, China, Germany, Turkey. Currency, lek, all. Foreign relations. The foreign relations of Albania are its relations with other governments and peoples. Foreign relations are conducted through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tirana. Its foreign policy has maintained a policy of complementarianism by trying to have friendly relations with all countries. Since the collapse of communism in 1990, Albania has extended its responsibilities and position in European and international affairs, supporting and establishing friendly relations with other nations around the world. The main factors defining Albanian foreign policy consist of geopolitical location, population, economic crisis, and ties with Albanian diaspora throughout the world. It also maintains strong diplomatic relations with the EU, primarily Croatia, France, Germany, Italy, Balkan countries primarily Kosovo, Greece and North Macedonia, Arab world, Canada, China, Turkey, Israel, India, Japan, South Korea, Switzerland, UK and the United States. The main objectives of the Albanian foreign policy are the accession of Albania to the European Union, the international recognition of Kosovo, the recognition of expulsion of Cham Albanians, helping and protecting the rights of Albanians in Montenegro, North Macedonia, Greece, Serbia, Italy, and the Albanian diaspora. Albania was voted to become a member of the 15-country United Nations Security Council for a two-year term, 2022-23. Albania emerged as being generally supportive of the United States. The support for the United States has remained high at 95% in Muslim-majority Albania in contrast to the rest of the Islamic world. During the post-Cold War, geopolitical complexities and conflicts in the Balkans made Albania seek a protector power with Turkey, which is a NATO member. During the 1990s, state relations between Albania and Turkey were marked by high-level visits, military agreements, and the deployment of Turkish soldiers. Turkey considers its friendship with Albania as important due to the context of state relations with Greece and through policy have exploited difficulties arising in Albanian-Greek relations. Having a powerful ally in Turkey has suited Albania at times regarding difficult interstate relations with Greece. Albania's emergence in the Balkans as a key NATO partner contributed to good and stronger Albanian-Turkish relations. In particular relating to military matters, state relations of Albania with Turkey are friendly and close. Due to maintenance of close links with the Albanian diaspora in Turkey and strong Turkish socio-political, cultural, economic and military ties with Albania, Albania has established political and economic ties with Arab countries, in particular with Arab Persian Gulf states who have heavily invested in religious transport and other infrastructure alongside other facets of the economy in addition to the somewhat limited societal links they share. Albania is also working to develop social, political and economic ties with Israel. After the fall of the Albanian communist regime in 1991, relations between Greece and Albania became increasingly strained because of widespread allegations of mistreatment by Albanian authorities of the Greek ethnic minority in southern Albania and of mistreatment the Albanian communities in northern Greece. A wave of Albanian illegal economic migrants to Greece exacerbated tensions. The crisis in Greek-Albanian relations reached its peak in late August 1994. When an Albanian court sentenced 5 members, a 6th member was added later, of the ethnic Greek political party Ammonia to prison terms on charges of undermining the Albanian state. Greece responded by freezing all EU aid to Albania and sealing its border with Albania. In December 1994, however, Greece began to permit limited EU aid to Albania, while Albania released 2 of the Ammonia defendants and reduced the sentences of the remaining 4. Today, as a result of very frequent high-level contacts between the governments and the parliaments, relations between the two countries are regarded as excellent. Greece is a staunch supporter of the Euro-Atlantic integration of the Republic of Albania. Albania's ties with Greece are also based on cultural and historic relations of the two peoples, including migration and national minorities. In addition, since Albania's transition to democracy, Greece has become a major financial partner of the country, with Albania's economy being heavily reliant on investments from Greece. Culturally, the two nations' populations, whilst having a tense history, share numerous cultural and historic traits that have been used to boost the political relations of the neighboring countries. Albania was voted to become a member of the 15-country UN Security Council for a 2-year term, in 2022-23, on the 11th of June 2021, in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Albania has expressed support for Ukraine and also supported Latvia's nomination to join the United Nations Security Council in 2025. Human rights. Current issues concerning human rights in Albania include domestic violence, isolated cases of torture, and police brutality, the general condition of prisons. Human and sex trafficking and LGBT rights. Nearly 60% of women in rural areas suffer physical or psychological violence, and nearly 8% are victims of sexual violence. Protection orders are often violated. In 2014, the Albanian Helsinki Committee, AHC, reported that the number of female murder victims is still high. The Commissioner for Protection from Discrimination has raised concerns regarding the family registration law that discriminates against women. As a result, heads of households, who are overwhelmingly men, have the right to change family residency without their partner's permission. In 2015, the association ILGA Europe ranked Albania 19th in terms of LGBT rights out of 49 observed European countries, on the latest report in 2022. Lack of progress caused Albania to be ranked the 28th country in Europe, among 49 countries observed. There has been a growing awareness of human trafficking as a human rights issue in Europe. The end of communism has contributed to an increase in human trafficking, with the majority of victims being women forced into prostitution. Albania is a country of origin and country of transit for persons, primarily women and children, trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation. The Albanian government has shown some commitment to combat trafficking but has been criticized for not fully complying with the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking and failing to develop effective measures in witness protection. According to reports, detainees have frequently been injured. The injuries which they have sustained include bruises, broken teeth, or cuts which required medical treatment or even admissions to hospitals. Some cases of ill treatment have amounted to torture. Many of these violations have been committed against members or supporters of the Socialist Party. Other victims include homosexuals, members of the Greek minority, and former political prisoners. Prosecutions of police officers for torture or ill treatment appear to be rare. Nearly 60% of women in rural areas suffer physical or psychological violence, and nearly 8% are victims of sexual violence. Protection orders are often violated. In 2014, the Albanian Helsinki Committee, AHC, reported that the number of female murder victims is still high. The Commissioner for Protection from Discrimination has raised concerns regarding the family registration law that discriminates against women. As a result, heads of households, who are overwhelmingly men, have the right to change family residency without their partner's permission. In 2015, UNICEF reported that 77% of children have been subjected to some form of violent punishment at home. Hundreds of children are being forced to beg or subjected to other forms of forced labor within the country and even abroad. At least 70 families are in a self-imposed confinement due to fear of revenge attacks. Human rights in Albania are violated by the government, which have targeted the Greek minority population via police and secret service. According to human rights organizations, Greek communities have been targeted by development projects and had their homes demolished in alleged ethnic targeting Greeks from southern Albania, where homes are systematically demolished. Also, according to Amnesty International, there were cases of mistreatment of members of Greek minority by the authorities. Also, the ethnic Greek minority complained about the government's unwillingness to recognize ethnic Greek towns outside communist-era minority zones, to utilize Greek in official documents and on public signs in ethnic Greek areas, or to include more ethnic Greeks in public administration. Transport in Albania consists of transport by land, water and air, which are predominantly under the supervision of the Ministry of Infrastructure of Albania. The development and improvement of the transport in the country remains among the most important priorities of the government of Albania. It has experienced significant changes and major growth and expansion in recent years, especially after the fall of communism in the country. Improvements to the road infrastructure, urban transport, and air travel have all led to a vast improvement in transportation. These upgrades have played a key role in supporting Albania's economy, which in the past decade has come to rely heavily on the construction industry. Transportation in Albania is managed within the functions of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Energy and entities such as the Albanian Road Authority, ARRSH, responsible for the construction and maintenance of the highways and motorways in Albania, as well as the Albanian Aviation Authority, AAC, with the responsibility of coordinating civil aviation and airports in the country. The International Airport of Tirana is the premier air gateway to the country, and is also the principal hub for Albania's national flag carrier airline, Air Albania. The airport carried more than 3.3 million passengers in 2019, with connections to many destinations in other countries around Europe, Africa and Asia. The country plans to progressively increase the number of airports, especially in the south, with possible locations in Sarande, Gjirokastër and Vlorë. The highways and motorways in Albania are properly maintained and often still under construction and renovation. Road, total, 18,000 kilometers, paved, 12,920 kilometers, unpaved. 5,080 kilometers, 2002 est. The overwhelming majority of roads in the country are owned and maintained by state and local governments. In recent years, a major road construction spree took place on the main state roads of Albania, involving the construction of new roadways, putting of contemporary signs, planting of trees, and related greening projects. Works on most highways are completed, though they remained unfinished between 2011 and 2013 as per lack of funds. The Autostrada 1, A1, is an integral transportation corridor and the country's longest motorway. It is planned to link Durrës on the Adriatic Sea across Pristina in Kosovo with the Pan-European Corridor X in Serbia. The Autostrada 2, A2, is part of the Adriatic-Ionian Corridor as well as the Pan-European Corridor 8 and connects Fier with Vlorë. The Autostrada 3, A3, is under construction and after its completion will connect Tirana and Elbasan with the Pan-European Corridor 8. When all three corridors are completed, Albania will have an estimated 759 kilometers, 472 mi, of highway, linking it with all neighboring countries. Durrës is the busiest and largest seaport in the country, followed by Vlorë, Shëngjin and Sarande. As of 2014, it is as one of the largest passenger ports on the Adriatic Sea, with annual passenger volume of about 1.5 million. The principal ports serve a system of ferries connecting Albania with islands and coastal cities in Croatia, Greece, and Italy. At present, major cities are linked with either new single, dual carriageways or well-maintained roads. There is a dual carriageway connecting the port city of Durrës with Tirana, Vlorë, and partially Kukës. Most rural segments continue to remain in bad conditions as their reconstruction has only begun in the late 2000s by the Albanian Development Fund. Rail, total, 447 kilometers, country comparison to the world. 120, standard gauge, 447 kilometers 1,435 millimeters. The rail network is administered by the national railway company Heqëruta Shqiptare, which was extensively promoted by Hoxha. There has been considerable increase in private car ownership and bus usage while rail use decreased since the end of communism. A new railway line from Tirana and its airport to Durrës is planned. The location of this railway, connecting Albania's most populated urban areas, makes it an important economic development project. Albania's main seaports are Durrës, Vlorë, Sarande, and Shëngjin. By 1983 there were regular ferry, freight, and passenger services from Durrës to Trieste, Italy. The merchant marine include 24 vessels. Country comparison to the world. 91 total includes 7 ships of 1,000 gross tonnage, GT, or over, totaling 13,423 GT, 20,837 tons deadweight, DWT, ferry services within Albania. Lake Kamani ferry operates between Komen and Firza in northern Albania. Butrint cable ferry crosses the Vivari Channel at Butrint in southern Albania. Karaburun ferry has operated since 2014 between the Karaburun Peninsula and Sazan Island along the Albanian Riviera in southern Albania. Seasonal pipelines, crude oil 207 kilometers, 129 miles, natural gas 229 kilometers, 142 mi, 2008. Public transport in Albania is mainly characterized by the use of furgons, the equivalent of minibuses. Vans or shuttles identifiable by yellow plates. Education. In Albania, education is secular, free, compulsory, and based on 3 levels: primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. The academic year is apportioned into 2 semesters, beginning in September or October and ending in June or July. Albanian is the primary language of instruction in the country's academic institutions. The study of a first foreign language is mandatory and taught most often at elementary and bilingual schools. Languages taught in schools are English, Italian, French and German. Albania has a school life expectancy of 16 years and a literacy rate of 98.7%. With 99.2% for men and 98.3% for women. The nation ranks 25th out of 167 countries. Compulsory primary education is divided into 2 levels, elementary and secondary school. From grade 1 to 5 and 6 to 9, respectively. Pupils are required to attend school from the age 6 until they turn 16. Upon successful completion of primary education, all pupils are entitled to attend high schools, specializing in any field, including arts, sports, languages, sciences, and technology. Tertiary education is optional and has undergone a thorough reformation and restructuring in compliance with the principles of the Bologna process. There are a significant number of private and public institutions of higher education in Albania's major cities. Tertiary education is organized into 3 successive levels: the bachelor, master, and doctorate. Elementary education is compulsory from grades 1 to 9, but most students continue at least until a secondary education. Students must pass the graduation exams at the end of the 9th grade and also at the end of the 12th grade in order to continue their education. The academic year is divided into 2 semesters. The school week begins on Monday and ends on Friday. Elementary schools were opened in the cities and some of the larger towns. And the Italian and French schools that had opened during World War I were strengthened. In the meantime, 2 important American schools were founded: the American Vocational School in Tirana, established by the American Junior Red Cross in 1921, and the American Agricultural School in Kavahe, sponsored by the Near East Foundation. Several future Communist Party and government luminaries were educated in the foreign schools. Enver Hoxha graduated from the National Lycée in 1930, and Mehmet Shehu, who would become Prime Minister, completed studies at the American Vocational School in 1932. The Human Rights Measurement Initiative, HRMI, finds that Albania is fulfilling only 87.4% of what it should be fulfilling for the right to education based on the country's level of income. HRMI breaks down the right to education by looking at the rights to both primary education and secondary education. While taking into consideration Albania's income level, the nation is achieving 86.3% of what should be possible based on its resources, income, for primary education and 88.5% for secondary education. These institutions were located mainly in cities and large towns. The schools for Orthodox Christian children were under the supervision of the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople. The teachers at these schools usually were recruited from the Orthodox clergy, and the language of instruction was Greek. The first school known to use Albanian in modern times was a Franciscan seminary that opened in 1861 in Shkodër, though there are mentions of Albanian schools by Franciscans since 1638 in Pidihane. In 1909, to meet the demand for teachers able to teach in the native tongue, a normal school was established in Elbasan. But in 1910, the Young Turks, fearing the emergence of Albanian nationalism, closed all schools that used Albanian as the language of instruction. The nationalization of schools was followed in 1934 by a far-reaching reorganization of the entire education system. The new system called for compulsory elementary education from the ages of 4 to 14. It also provided for the expansion of secondary schools of various kinds. The establishment of new technical, vocational, and commercial secondary schools, and the acceleration and expansion of teacher training. Secondary education began with grade 9, usually at age 14, and ended with grade 12. Secondary schools offered 4-year general education programs or 4-year vocational and professional programs, including industrial, agricultural, pedagogic, trade, arts, and health tracks, among others. Some programs lasted only 2 years. The term of study in the institutes of higher education lasted 3 to 5 years, and tuition was also free at this level. Provision was made to expand higher education by increasing the number of full-time students, setting up new branches in places where there were no post-secondary institutes, and organizing specialized courses in which those who had completed higher education would be trained to become highly qualified technical and scientific cadres. Healthcare. The Constitution of Albania guarantees its citizens equal, free, and universal healthcare. The healthcare system is organized into primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare, and is in a process of modernization and development. The life expectancy at birth in Albania is 77.8 years, ranking 37th in the world and surpassing several developed countries. The average healthy life expectancy is 68.8 years, ranking 37th in the world. The country's infant mortality rate was estimated at 12 per 1,000 live births in 2015. In 2000, the country had the world's 55th best healthcare performance, as defined by the World Health Organization, WHO. Cardiovascular disease is the principal cause of death in Albania, accounting for 52% of deaths. Accidents, injuries, malignant and respiratory diseases are other primary causes of death. Neuropsychiatric disease has also increased due to recent demographic, social, and economic changes in the country. In 2009, Albania had a fruit and vegetable supply of 886 grams per capita per day, the fifth highest supply in Europe. Compared to other developed and developing countries, Albania has a relatively low rate of obesity, probably thanks to the Mediterranean diet. Life expectancy in Albania was estimated at 77.59 years. In 2014, ranking 51st in the world, and outperforming a number of European Union countries, such as Hungary, Poland and the Czech Republic. In 2016 it was 74 for men and 79 for women. The most common causes of death are circulatory diseases followed by cancerous illnesses. Demographic and Health Surveys completed a survey in April 2009, detailing various health statistics in Albania, including male circumcision, abortion and more. The Albanian Public Health Institute in Tirana was founded in 1935. Albania became a member of the World Health Organization on May 26, 1947. The Human Rights Measurement Initiative finds that Albania is fulfilling 67.0% of what it should be fulfilling for the right to health based on its level of income. When looking at the right to health with respect to children, Albania achieves 98.3% of what is expected based on its current income. In regards to the right to health amongst the adult population, the country achieves 98.0% of what is expected based on the nation's level of income. Albania falls into the very bad category when evaluating the right to reproductive health because the nation is fulfilling only 4.6% of what the nation is expected to achieve based on the resources, income it has available. According to the Constitution of Albania, citizens are entitled to health care. The healthcare system in Albania is primarily public. The public system is made up of 3 tiers: primary care, secondary care, and tertiary care. Primary healthcare covers basic health needs. Secondary healthcare is needed when seeing a specialist after being referred to by a general practitioner. Tertiary healthcare funds are dedicated for highly specialized medical care that is needed over a long duration of time. There are over 400 public clinics that offer both primary and secondary healthcare services, along with over 40 public hospitals that offer tertiary healthcare services. In 2018, per capita healthcare spending in Albania was $275, an approximate 20% increase from 2017. Public healthcare is financed by employers and employees who fill a government fund with money. The Albanian Health Insurance Institute, which was established in 1994, currently covers the cost of healthcare. It is primarily funded by a 3.4% charge on gross salaries. Over the last decade, the private healthcare sector has significantly grown with over 10 private hospitals and many private clinics. Generally, dental and pharmaceutical care services are private. Albania has over 1,000 pharmacies, with nearly all the drugs sold in them being imports from other countries. Currently, the only medical school in Albania is the University of Medicine. It is located in Tirana, the capital of Albania. The University of Medicine is a public university, which teaches about 9,000 students. Although medical service has immensely improved over the last century, medical service in the country remains flawed. The poor medical service in the country, however, does allow for government spending on healthcare to be relatively low, in comparison to the government spending of countries with superior medical services. Overall, the Albania healthcare system has undergone significant improvements and is on the way to many more, such as, for instance, the 2013 to 2022 Albanian Plan for Mental Health Services Development. This plan is aimed at protecting and helping individuals with mental health issues. Under the framework of this plan, the government built community mental health centers and support homes to aid in the treatment and care of citizens struggling with their mental health. Sports. Popular sports in Albania include football, weightlifting, basketball, volleyball, tennis, swimming, rugby union and gymnastics. Football is by far the most popular sport in Albania. It is governed by the Football Association of Albania, which has membership in FIFA and UEFA. The Albania national football team, ranking 51st in the world in 2017, highest 22nd on the 22nd of August 2015, have won the 1946 Balkan Cup and the Malta Rothmans International Tournament 2000. but had never participated in any major UEFA or FIFA tournament until UEFA Euro 2016, Albania's first ever appearance at the continental tournament and at a major men's football tournament. Albania scored their first ever goal in a major tournament and secured their first ever win in European Championship when they beat Romania by 1-0 in a UEFA Euro 2016 match on the 19th of June 2016. The most successful football clubs are Skenderbeu, KF Tirana, Dinamo Tirana, Partizani and Vllaznia. Weightlifting is one of the most successful individual sport for the Albanians, with the national team winning medals at the European Weightlifting Championships and the rest international competitions. Albanian weightlifters have won a total of 16 medals at the European Championships, with one of them being gold, 7 silver and 8 bronze. In the World Weightlifting Championships, the Albanian weightlifting team has won in 1972 a gold, in 2002 a silver and in 2011 a bronze medal. Albania participated at the Olympic Games in 1972 for the first time. The country made their Winter Olympic Games debut in 2006. Albania missed the next 4 games, 2 of them due to the 1980 and 1984 boycotts, but returned for the 1992 Games in Barcelona. Since then, Albania have participated in all games. Albania normally competes in events that include swimming, athletics, weightlifting, shooting and wrestling. The country have been represented by the National Olympic Committee of Albania since 1972. The nation has participated at the Mediterranean Games since the Games of 1987 in Syria. The Albanian athletes have won a total of 43, 8 gold, 17 silver and 18 bronze medals from 1987 to 2013. Albania has competed at every celebration of the Mediterranean Games since the 1987 Mediterranean Games. As of 2022, Albanian athletes have won a total of 49 medals. The country's ranking in the history of the Games is the 17th place. Albania won so far 2 medals at the Mediterranean Beach Games, in which being 1 gold and 1 bronze, since their debut, both in the sport of beach wrestling. His second most successful Albanian medalist at the Mediterranean Games is female weightlifter Romela Begaj. She won in total 4 medals. Gold in 2009 and 2 medals in 2013, 1 bronze and silver medals in the women's -63 kilograms category. The other ones in this list being male weightlifter Daniel Gadeli and Erkan Karimaj, each with 2 medal wins. There were plenty of Albanians who did participate for Yugoslavia, coming from Kosovo and from Macedonia and for Greece, who would win many medals at the Mediterranean Games. In boxing, several athletes of Albanian descent such as Mehmet Boguhevji, Aziz Salihu were successful medal winners for Yugoslavia. Albanians like Shaban Terstina and Shaban Saidu who would win gold medals in wrestling. Recently, athletes of Albanian descent represented Kosovo at the Mediterranean Games, in which judokas like Majlinda Kelmendi, Nora Jakova and Akil Jakova would win gold medals in judo. Recently, Distria Krasniki and Laura Fazliu won gold in judo at the 2022 Mediterranean Games in Oran in Algeria. It does not represent the actual medal table, as it is just a table of how many medals were won by Albanians athletes who did not compete for Albania at those competitions.